You've either had one or you were one. You've either never had one and always wanted one, or you've had too many to count and you couldn't possibly think of a worse way to spend an evening. What am I talking about? Simple. Fuck buddies. We all know what the concept is. It's a person that you call whenever you need a scratch itched and no one else seems to be able to do the job. In my experience, though, the worst thing that could happen is for you to actually start to catch feelings for the person. Because trust me, honey, this is exactly what happened to me. And it's a decent story. It's kind of funny. But all together and all, it kind of just goes to show you, never make friends with the person you're fucking. This is the one with the fuck buddy. In my many years of being myself, I have gone above and beyond to try not to get too emotionally attached to people because I tend to go all in before I'm supposed to. I put my all into a person, all into a relationship, and even situationships, and I always end up getting hurt. I'm the one who gets burnt. I'm the one who gets the broken heart. So, after my third failed relationship, I decided that I was going to go headfirst into my Samantha Jones era. I know it didn't last long because right after the Samantha Jones era, I ended up getting married. But for those of you that have actually been tuning into this series since I started back in 2022, you will all remember that at one point or another, I did go completely without a relationship for almost a year, which considering my track record is very, very long. During that time, I decided that I was going to try new things. I was going to try to meet new people, expand my horizons, and try things I never tried before. And I know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have not tried? I mean, I did a lot back in the day, and it's probably not a good idea that I've done so many things because it actually ends up biting my ass in the end. But I digress. I decided that I was going to go headfirst into what could possibly have been the worst relationship that I would ever have. And it wasn't even a relationship. Well, let's start at how I met the person. Years ago, before I was like hell-bent on only using Tammy to meet women, I decided that I was going to give Tinder another try. Tinder had only brought me two people. It had brought me my first love, and it had brought me my worst nightmare. And so I decided, I'm not going to judge an entire app just by the people that I've met on there, because that would be too judgmental. That would be like judging an entire restaurant based off of one bad experience. So I decided I was going to jump back on Tinder because that's what it was invented for in the first place, to meet randos to hook up. So I'm swiping, and I come across this page that literally had everything that I wanted written in bold ink. It simply said, I'm only in town for a couple of weeks, and I'm looking for someone to have a good time. That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want a relationship. I didn't want anybody tying me down. I didn't want to feel like I was going to fall in love again. And the only thing I could think of is, you haven't had good sex the entire time you were with this person, so why don't you jump into bed with someone new? Maybe they can do things for you that your partner couldn't. And now you can finally get all your itches scratched, and you don't have to worry about getting hurt. It sounds simple enough, right? It never is with me, is it? No. So the woman asks me, one, if I had any STD testing, because yes, I am going to sit here and shamelessly plug this into the episode. If you are having sex with anyone, you please get yourself tested, even if you think you're the cleanest woman in the world. Even if you're the cleanest woman in the world, you may or may not come into contact with someone who is not. So make sure you get tested. Because the last thing you want to do is be that person who's giving something to somebody else. Because what you don't want to do is get blacklisted on every dating app. Because, honey, that's a very long time to get banned. So after screenshotting my latest STD test results and sending them to her in a DM, she said, okay, cool. She was like, you're cute. Why not? She said, well, I don't really know the area. So, what's a really nice place to go, get a couple of drinks, and, have a good time? And I knew just the place. I told her to meet me at Taboo, which was local gay joint. Kind of like sports bar-y, but more like, all are welcome, not just assholes and athletes. And we met at the pool table. We were just talking and stuff. And she was like, you really are really cute. Like, I'm actually really glad that we're doing this. She was like, now we don't have to jump right into sex. She was like, we can just hang out tonight, get a couple of drinks, dance, whatever, talk, get to know each other. It doesn't need to jump right into sex. And I was like, that's actually kind of sweet, but that's not why I came out here. So after agreeing that after our last couple of drinks of the night that we were going to go get a room, because I didn't feel, if this was just a meet and fuck, I wasn't taking you home, and I didn't want to go back to her place or whatever loft she was staying at or Airbnb she was staying at. So I said, let's just get a room. We'll go half. We'll get a room, call it quits in the morning. And I had what was probably one of the best sexual experiences of my entire life. And I had a beautiful time. And it was great. It was like phenomenal. She definitely knew what she was doing. And what I was not expecting was the next morning, she came back I woke up and she was gone. And I'm thinking, she left or dipped or whatever the situation was. And I was wrong. She had actually went to go get us breakfast and coffee and stuff and came back, and she woke me up and everything. And she was like, here, I just thought I'd send you something for the road, to show you I'm not a complete asshole. And I said, you're not an asshole. I said, we know what the deal is, And she said, well, I'm going to be in town for a couple more days. She was like, I would kind of like to see you again, just in an informal thing. She was like, because last night was amazing. I said, it really was, wasn't it? She was actually very close to the third best lay I've ever had. Yeah, probably about like the third best lay I've ever had. So I was like, why not? I mean, like I said, I was single, I was working. The only thing I was worried about was working, hanging out with my friends, and trying to reconnect with myself. Because the last relationship that I was in before this was completely and utterly mind-fucking for me. It completely destroyed me as a person. So I decided, have a little bit of fun. Why not? So I went home, told my little sister all about the events that happened, and I was basically set and ready to go. And then I get a text message. It's her. We'd exchanged numbers because I didn't like leaving an account open on Tinder too long, because then you get really unwelcome company. And I had given her my phone number, so we were texting, and she was like, hey, I know this is going to sound really weird. She was like, but I really did enjoy myself, like, outside of the sex. She was like, would you want to grab lunch or something, like, completely platonic, just like friends? And this is where I fucked up. Absolutely, I'd love to grab lunch. What I should have said was, no, you were basically a prostitute for me. I do not want to be friends with you. I do not want to hang out with you. I do not want to know your favorite color. I know I do not want to go to what is possibly the sweetest fucking brunch place in the entire world and share fucking chicken and waffles with you over mimosas and talk about our childhoods. I do not want to do that. But that's exactly what I did. We went to this really cute brunch place, had chicken and waffles, mimosas, and talked about everything. We had pretty similar backgrounds, pretty similar childhoods, and it was like I literally was meeting my counterpart. Like if I didn't already have a twin sister, I would have literally been like, where the hell have you been my entire life? So after our little brunch date, we hung out the rest of the day and ended our morning after by spending the entire afternoon and evening in bed together. And it was great. I do not regret the sex. I do not regret hooking up with her. I do not regret any of it. The only thing I regret doing is the thing that Erin always does when she gets involved with someone, even if it is on an easy breezy level. I got caught up. Anyone who has known me for more than 5 seconds will know that I basically have the attention span of a goldfish. I thoroughly like having sex with women. I enjoy getting to know people. I enjoy dating. I enjoy the scene. I enjoy all of it. But more than that, I also love, and I love being in a relationship, and I love being with a person, and I just love having someone to talk to at the end of the day. And so what I was actually actively doing was I was destroying what could have been a great ding-dong ditch fuck and turning it into the complete soap opera of the century. Because at the end of our little day of bliss, she wanted to go out on a date, like an actual date, like let's go out to dinner, I'll buy you dinner, I'll pick you up, I'll drop you off, we won't have sex, and then, I'll come pick you up next weekend. And what did my dumbass do? My dumbass told her no. I said, this was not supposed to be this. I said, I'm not looking for a relationship, I'm not looking for anything. What I'm looking for is someone to bang me occasionally, have a good time, go drinking, go dancing, talk, whatever. No commitment, no dating, no nothing. I cannot handle that right now. So So I think I hurt homegirl's feelings because she dipped and didn't call me for about 3 weeks. Then all of a sudden, I'm out at Woody's with 2 friends of mine, and we're dancing, having a good time, talking shit, whatever. And I get this like tap on the back of my shoulder. And I turn around, and it's the girl, like it's the girl, and she says, well, it's good to know that you weren't looking for a relationship because you're like all over Instagram with this bitch. And I said, excuse me? Here, people would often confuse me and my ex-girlfriend for still being a couple because we would hang out all the time. And I had posted a picture of us. We were hanging out at some girl's house or whatever, and we were just drinking and smoking and talking or whatever. And I just recorded us, did a little boomerang joint, and posted it on my story because she's my friend. And naturally, crazy doesn't understand normal. So what ended up happening was the girl got pissed. And apparently getting pissed, she decided that she was going to pour an entire picture of margaritas over my head in what was the most unnecessary sitcom moment of the century in the middle of Woody's. And I was embarrassed as hell. When I don't do public scenes, and I don't like my clothes being ruined when I'm not close to home. So I was annoyed and irritated as fuck. And I said, why? I was like, we had a good thing. Like, you were a good fuck. We had fun. What is the issue? Like, I don't understand. And she said it. You're not the same person you were when you were texting me on the app. And I said, yes, the fuck I am. I said, I can even pull up our conversation. Like, I was telling you that I wanted sex and just sex. Maybe a friend. I did not want, under any circumstances, a fucking girlfriend. And I said, I don't know if it was the sex. I don't know if it was the dancing. I don't know if it was the brunch. But I said, somewhere along the line, we got to disconnect. You want a girlfriend. I don't. So why don't you go find someone who wants a girlfriend and leave me the fuck alone? And give me the money for my new fucking outfit that you just fucking destroyed. Because if you don't, then we're going to have a problem. I had already been banned from Woody's twice for indecent exposure. And I did not need another notch on my ID, or else I would never be allowed back. And I used to have a really bad temper. I used to not know how to hold my tongue or anything. I did not know how to handle myself socially and, with tact, because I was usually 9 times out of 10 exhausted, drunk, and, just ready to go home and go to sleep. In that moment, I was pissed because for the first time in my life, I was actually doing me. I wasn't jumping into a relationship. I wasn't self-harming. I wasn't doing any of that unnecessary errand shit that I do after every breakup. I was putting myself in a position where I wanted to be free. I wanted to have sex when I wanted to. I wanted to talk to who I wanted to. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, because for the last year and a half in that relationship, I was in a torture chamber. I was being abused emotionally, physically, even sometimes sexually. And on top of all of that, I couldn't go out with my friends. So yes, I was enjoying my time out at the clubs with my friends, with my sisters, with my mom, with people that I couldn't hang out with for months, almost a year, because I was in this relationship where this person wanted to keep me like Rapunzel in the tower. So what I didn't realize is you can't just threaten anybody, because you don't know who people know. You don't know if people come with friends or associates. And what I didn't know is that sis had a gangle of people. And so when I made that threat against her, and in my attempt to be savvy and hood or whatever the hell it is I was trying to do, I ended up getting my ass dragged in what had to have been the most hilarious fight in the history of Everdom, because it was literally 6 bitches on me, and I'm not doing anything but telling them to leave me alone. Like, I'm not fighting, I'm not arguing, we're not having any type of conversation. It's literally me telling them to just don't pull my hair, because these are extensions, please don't do that. And I ended up I literally got dragged in front of Woody's. This shit is hysterical. I still laugh thinking about it, because I had done a lot of shit over the years. I have got kicked out of bars for having sex in the bathroom. I had gone to club openings places and snuck in using someone else's ID. I have stolen tip jars on Truth or Dare night at different clubs and stuff. I've done a lot of shit. But for me to be outside of one of my favorite clubs in Philly and actually be in an actual physical altercation where not only did I lose, I got trashed. I was completely embarrassed. I was completely thrown off my game. And what was worse was I was pissed royally. because I didn't do public scenes. I didn't do that back then. I really didn't. I didn't like doing them even with my ex-wife. I didn't like doing that either. But unfortunately, what I got tired of was I was always tired of being the victim. And so in that moment, I felt like a real victim. So I showed my ass. And after I got up, after being dragged across Broad Street, I got up and I basically said that you were I literally publicly embarrassed this girl and basically said she was the worst lay I ever had. And that I hope that whatever it is that she got that had me itching, I hope that it killed her. And I got on the bus and I went home. Turns out, she didn't give me anything, first of all, because I've been STD free for almost 30 years. Congratulations. And I just wanted to embarrass her because she blew the shit out of me. Like, you really embarrassed me. And what I didn't know was that she actually ended up being a very important person. She actually ended up being like a really powerful attorney in the city. And about a year and a half ago, I started applying for jobs at law firms because I was tired of working in restaurants. And I walked in to an interview, and sitting across the conference room table from me was none other than the woman who I had basically publicly embarrassed by telling everyone that she had chlamydia, and who had basically dragged me across Broad Street after low-key having like some of the best sex that I've ever had in my life. It was literally surreal. Long story short, I didn't get the job at the law firm, but we ended up fucking in the bathroom at the law office after my interview. So, I mean, something good came out of it, right? At the end of the day, do you have fun, live free, and don't ever forget, please, for the love of God, if you're going to hook up with someone and you want that person to be a regular fuck buddy, make sure you're both on the same page. Because what you don't want to do is have 2 black eyes, a bruised arm, and a history of bad experiences at a club that you literally love and would do anything to be able to go back to being 24 and dancing out again on a Saturday night. But last but not least, don't ever close the door on the possibility of rekindling a flame. Never close the door on it, because who knows, you might walk into an interview tomorrow and the guy or girl that you fucked 12 years ago could be sitting at the end of that conference room table. Honey, if you want the job, you might have to do the do.